Thanks, Jill. Good evening and a very warm welcome to day 3 here at the Johnston's Paint Tour Championship, where the house is full here in Manchester. We've reached the quarter-final stage. It's a best of 19 frames. It's time now to welcome our players. We begin on table number 2 with China's greatest ever player, a 3-time UK champion, Enter the Dragon, Ding Junwei. His opponent, a former UK and Masters champion with 3 big wins already this season in the Shootout, Champion of Champions and Players Championship. Welcome the Pistol, Mark Allen. And here on table number 1, we welcome a 5-time ranking event winner and finalist in this season's Wuhan Open, the captain, Ali Carter. And now his opponent, the legendary record breaker, former winner of this event, the 8-time UK and Masters champion, 7-time champion of the world, the Rocket's Ronnie O'Sullivan.
What an atmosphere, what a venue, and of course with Ronnie O'Sullivan, what a player. 7 down, 3 to go for him to make the semi-finals.
Thank you to 9th frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
They say correctly that strange things happen in snooker. But if O'Sullivan were to lose from 7-1 up, that would be even stranger than normal. Almost, Neil, unthinkable.
Yeah, I suppose if Ali Carter goes back 24 hours and remembers that he was 7-1 up and he scraped home, if you like, against Barry Hawkins, but it's not Barry Hawkins sitting in that chair. He did finish really well. That 1-4-1 was tremendous piece of character there, I thought, to leave the session on a high, and otherwise nightmarish afternoon. He pulled it out of the wreckage with that frame at least. What that will mean in the context of anything but the high break prize remains to be seen. O'Sullivan definitely grew in strength as the 8-frame session went on. From the mid-session, he was quite devastating for burst of 5 and an 8-minute frame. Good opening red. The crowd will be a bit torn tonight because they always like to see as much snooker as they can and as much O'Sullivan as they can, and that might involve him losing some frames early, strangely.
Eight. Nine.
Propelling Carter will be pride.
16. $17. $24.
Well, he's had some mixed fortunes going into the
25.
bunch. He might not try here. Might play on the loose red, but a couple of times yesterday and today, the balls have split, but not necessarily in the way positionally he wanted. But with his next colour, he'll have to go into them.
30. $31.
Well, he's got quite a straight angle here. He might have to play the one cushion, right-hand side cushion, into them, unless there's a plant which is turned up. And of course, it's very hard to get the cue speed on this shot, get that cue ball motoring into the bunch of reds. I think it's the way he's going to have to play it. It's just a difficult shot. He was even straighter than the natural angle to go in off one cushion.
36.
And the break.
Ali Carter, 36.
As Neil said, trying to manufacture an angle, but sometimes even for the very best, it's an impossibility. With the notable exception of his 141, Carter, this afternoon his highest break was a mere 44. That will not get the job done against many people, let alone O'Sullivan.
That was a really nice safety shot, in fact. It was a feature of his win yesterday, especially in that afternoon session. It's got to be absolutely watertight this evening to have any chance of a comeback. And that was a start. Yeah, he's not happy with that. He let out a sigh before it even hit the second cushion. He knew that he'd taken the cue too narrowly. Not the kind of mistake you would expect someone like O'Sullivan to make.
1. $7. $8. $14. $15.
More to do. Still 83 points left on the table for O'Sullivan if he got back to the table soon. Desperately looking for
22.
a follow-up red. Does that red go to left middle? It looks a bit tight. Don't think it does. No, no way. Up into the yellow pocket, this one.
All net, as they say in basketball. No draw involved. And now from here, Carter looks set to do what he had to do. Win the first.
28. $29.
Well, this is more in keeping with his overall form this season. That's why he's here. That's why he won yesterday.
$35. $36.
Certainly pink to middle might now be his option. Probably played on the black initially.
$42. $43.
After losing the first 7 frames of the match, it's 2 on the trot,
49.
either side of the hiatus between sessions
50.
for Carter. And both of them 1-0.
56. $57.
Yeah, no century possible this time. Red and the black here means you can make
63.
as many as 94.
4.
Less now taking the pink, but no century. But as you say, he's closed O'Sullivan out in 2 consecutive frames now.
$70. Ali Carter 70 and the frame.
Assisted by breaks of 36 and 70. Ali Carter falls one back, but O'Sullivan remains firmly in the driver's seat. Even if you're the greatest player in the history of the game, it really is hard to sustain success over the
Frame 10.
course of a whole
Ali Carter
day.
to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan led 7-0 in this one. But he's drawn a blank in the last couple of frames. Not bothered the scorers, as they say. The mini drought emphatically broken.
Yes, as is so often the case these days, the break-off not proving to be a great advantage. Leaving that red on, and I think the general standard of long potting now has never been higher. Almost like a penalty kick for certain players, those sort of shots that Ronnie knocked in.
6. 13. $14. 21.
Never been a bit of break builder than O'Sullivan. Just the little nudges and kisses, but he will be looking to get more reds open than are currently available. First opportunity. Getting on this low red with a slight angle might just nudge other reds, but
29.
there's not much to play with there. The red
30.
barely moved. And the bottom of the pack are quite flat here. Not a certainty to open them. Just had that look about it, and they were not going to move much. So now the almost
37.
recovery shot up the table, the red.
He knocked in a sublime blue this afternoon when he was blowing. This, though, takes all the cueing. Nowhere near.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 37.
He screwed back a long way there, didn't he? I mean, if he'd have just been able to play it like it was a blue and get on a red, of course he would have had no problem, but he had to do a lot more with the cue ball to get onto his next colour. A bit more effort had to go into the shot than usual.
One.
Much too early to say that was a moment in this whole match, in the context of the match. But it would help if he could make a few here. Can he get through to the red? It was a little bit at close quarters, doesn't it? Ideally, you'd like to play a run-through shot, but the push shot then certainly comes into the equation. Yeah, that's the only way he could play it. So a lot depends on his next colour.
Yeah, just difficult enough to be a real pressure ball, this. Test pass with flying colours right into the heart of the pocket.
16. $17.
He's a pugnacious sort, is Carter. This is just the kind of
22.
stubborn resilience in the face of adversity you'd expect from him.
23.
He got a lot of screwback on that. Perhaps more than he
30.
intended or thought he'd get. Just means his next red is slightly tricky. that's nice. He's lost the cue ball
31.
a fraction. May have felt he was going to nudge the red that was next to the red he played. So he's just drifting slightly out of position in this break now.
The modern pros know play that shot so well. They consistently find the gap between ball colours.
Yeah, he's still chasing it though a little. Another not so easy shot to follow. In the end, he felt that something was going to give in that break.
Ali Carter, 38.
Nowhere near the red.
One. Three.
He will need all the reds.
Four.
Yeah, so I guess the right-hand red is the one that he might struggle with, but even then, his ability to play left-handed shots, he could
11.
lean across perhaps and play it.
12.
Might be able to get in behind it to play it into opposite pockets. And there was a shot that was worth seeing if you're a player learning the game,
19.
learning break building. That gave him the option between either red.
20.
Looks like he's going to screw him behind this red now from that angle. One of those occasions where you don't mind being on the cushion. It's kind of what he wanted to be straight enough on the red. Needs a colour with it.
Did nothing outlandish with the cue ball off the last red, but he knocked in the black nevertheless.
$37.
Carter's rearguard action was brief.
40.
Yes, he had his chance in this frame. It was a good chance, but as we said at the time, he's just drifting out of position.
44.
He had to play one good shot to just get it all back. Couldn't quite do it.
$49.
Full house, and now some exhibition stuff.
55. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 62 on the
normally
frame.
wins frames in one visit. When you give him two chances, it's lights out. 8-2. The atmosphere in Manchester Central tonight is terrific. Ronnie O'Sullivan forging towards a victory. 8-2
Ronnie
ahead.
O'Sullivan to break.
On the other table, by the way, quickly, let me tell you, Mark Allen and Ding Junhui have shared the first 2 frames. Allen winning the first with a century after Ding missed a straightforward red. But there are no such mistakes from the Chinese number 1, or certainly the most famous Chinese player ever in the second frame. There's Queenie Lou, the referee, just re-racking the balls. Good stuff there so far. Can't afford for O'Sullivan to get within 1. Has to try and hold the rocket a couple of frames away. And even then, it would be such a difficult task.
That's a very good shot.
1.
He was a little concerned that the cue ball was not going to get round the angles because he wasn't certain the pot would go in. Beautiful striking. He was zipped around. Back into goal. Shame that he's queuing over a ball, actually. Deserved better. We had a look at the couple of reds. I don't think they were planted to the right corner. Not dead on. But clearly the one below it goes.
5.
Well, maybe he can make it into a plant. His left jaw on that. Managed to straighten it.
6.
Cue ball probably shouldn't have finished there. Makes it an awkward shot now.
Yes, and losing the cue ball in the previous frame was the start of his downfall.
Well, it was a poor shot because from a plant that he thought was on, he's not even taking the black on, so be very annoyed to finish
Alicard
out of position.
A weak safety shot, that one, in both senses of the word. The cue ball getting nowhere near up to the baulk line even.
One.
Well, he's taking on the big shot, the blue. He's going to have to be cued well. It's almost dead straight.
Foul. Ali Carter
One's he
1,
left?
Ronnie O'Sullivan 5.
I think he might have got away with this. I don't know, the red cuts to the middle. Some mutterings from Carter. I mean, the blue going into the bunch should be terrible news as well as the red going in. Can he cut this in? It was very thin. Well, that was also lucky. The last two shots, both players have got away with one there.
Foul. And a miss.
Oh, goodness.
Ronnie O'Sullivan
He's
5.
playing with a trace of left-hand side. It's check side. And, well, any good news, I'm sure he's not going to be called a miss because that would take about a week to put those back.
It's poor Collier, Neil. He'd only take 5 days. All rather ironic, that. Carter made a terrible mistake initially, put the blue safe, and then he, with his next mistake, he opened it up and opened up the entire table.
Six. Seven. Twelve. 13.
Yes, the table is not perfect with regards to where the reds are. We feel that he could build a pretty substantial lead when the more difficult reds come into play.
19. 20.
As you're going to play on this red down the cushion. It's the obvious shot to play, but very often certain players do not wish to play this shot, but he's got the cue ball almost exactly where you want it, where he can roll it in,
27.
bounce it up for the black. The cue ball is in a prime place. No problem.
That was sweet, wasn't it? Played so brilliantly to win the Riyadh Season World Masters of Snooker in Saudi Arabia
35.
recently, and one of the key ingredients to that success, he's potting
36.
across the top cushion at times. Could hardly have been any better.
41.
We highlight the strengths, Neil, but really, what are the weaknesses? Nothing I can see.
I think sometimes motivation might be a weakness, but I don't think they get playing Ali Carter. There's a lack of motivation. They both would have been up for this match in their own way. Certainly has done well in the very big events this season.
And again, in his
48.
smooth, seemingly inevitable way, O'Sullivan's arrived at frame ball again.
49.
Yeah, it's not quite as stylish a frame as some of the others, but he's got there in the end. There were
54.
a couple of mistakes made mid-frame.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 54, and the frame.
Ali Carter remains seated. Ronnie O'Sullivan within a frame of victory pre-interval. Ronnie O'Sullivan does not want to hang around. Never has, never will. He would like to win this match as quickly as possible. Not the nicest thing to go into an interval needing one frame. You're just pacing around, trying to tick off the moments until he can get back out there and complete the job. The score now, by the way, is exactly the same as it was the first time these two played. In the first round of the UK Championship in 2001, O'Sullivan won that one 9-2. Handed out plenty of punishment to Carter ever since. 18-8, final of the World Championship in 2008. 18-11, the final at the Crucible 4 years later.
Now, of course, the red above the black is definitely going to be moved here. It's a question of how he can get the cue ball away from that red onto something. It's not too bad. I mean, if the red goes to the middle, it's the first he's known of it. Looks like it pretty tight to me. It's going to take the one that takes him into the bunch again. Once again, cue ball going awkwardly. So now it's going to finish anywhere any good. Oh, how about that?
9.
Bringing the pink into play, delightful.
He's done a lot today, O'Sullivan. The one thing he hasn't done is make a century. The stands here are full. Are we going to see a grandstand finish? And knowing his mischievous side, he would love to maybe eclipse Carter's high break and deprive him of that.
15. $16.
Quickly, let me tell you, Ding, having lost the opening frame against Mark
23.
Allen to a century, now leads 2-1.
$24.
I think O'Sullivan has grown into this match. The early frames were not as good as some of the ones towards the end of
31.
the first session, put it that way. Now, all the shots are coming in. Well, if you remember a few shots back, the pack were very tightly bunched.
38.
Now reds are just strewn all over the table.
39. $44. 45.
When Rob Walker speaks to him, he'll probably say he wasn't satisfied with his
50.
performance. Won't be overly enthused,
51.
but deep down, considering the guy in the other chair today, he will be delighted, especially if he can convert this and win 10-2.
Yes, he's come into the tournament cold. It's, I guess, the only disadvantage about being a
55.
1, 2, 3, 4 seed is that you do play somebody who's had a match and always going to be a
56.
really good player in form. But like I say, as the match has gone on, he's got better. Slight mistake there. Very out of character. The cue ball would come under scrutiny. He
63.
meant to drive the cue ball past the red, not into it. It's a really good recovery shot.
64.
And the brown will be too many. Leave Carter requiring the snooker. Looks like the crowd are going to be entertained by O'Sullivan for less than an hour tonight. Some, of course, would have been here this afternoon. Well, interesting that he took the yellow, because that means Ali Carter can now still win.
66.
I think of players who would have just made sure the brown went in there.
I think the word is
67.
Yeah, he probably played it, but he's just taken the cue ball away. And he missed that double into a corner, a rare shot.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 67.
Could
Ali
never have
Carter,
seen any of
4.
that coming.
Well, Carter, even with the in-off, still requires a snooker. The only good thing for him, Sullivan's break did not threaten his highest break of the tournament so far, so he's still in line for a £10,000 bonus for now, at least.
Yeah, I mean, 1-4-1 is a good break, but with the talent on show, you know, you wouldn't be counting your money just yet.
But no showboating from O'Sullivan. even in this position of overwhelming superiority, keeping the match play head on right to the end. And now it is the end. Ali Carter so badly wanted to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan. He never came close, lost the first 7 frames, and in the end, the Rockets roared home into the semi-finals by 10 frames to 2. Comprehensive.